Greetings, and welcome to Next Stop Loading, the Growth Series. I am your host, Melissa, aka Stella, overworked millennial turned freshman entrepreneur. So did things really change? Right. Anyhow, each week, I'll bring you a conversation with professional women in various industries that are doing and or have done what the pandemic is teaching all of us to do. Figure it out. As a member of the Great Resignation, this series is dedicated to career and life transition. I hope this series engages and inspires you to grow with us on this journey of navigating this thing called life. I hope you know you're not alone. Join us. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Next Stop Loading, our growth series. Today, I have a very lovely guest. I would like her to introduce herself for the people. Will you be so kind as to share your name, your occupation, and if you're not too modest, your age as well?
Okay. I'm Imani Hudson Hill. I am a licensed attorney, but currently working as a government contractor, not actively practicing. I am 29.
So how many 29-year-old lawyers do you all know just out here? You know what I'm saying? How many do you know? So, Imani, where are you currently residing?
I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. So we're
Atlanta
here in Atlanta. We are filming today in Atlanta, Georgia. How did we get here? Like, are you from Atlanta?
Not at all.
Not at all. So where are you from?
Originally, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas. So that's where our paths cross.
Absolutely.
That's where our paths cross. So how do we get from Little Rock, Arkansas to Atlanta, Georgia? I mean, like, typically that's the Great Migration for a lot of us. It's either ATL or Dallas.
That's
typically
true.
what it is, but I know personally, because I know you personally, there's a lot in between.
Yes.
So the Great Migration.
The Great Migration.
But I feel like your path, and probably because I know personally, your path is a bit different from the Great Migration. It wasn't necessarily a direct to Atlanta from Little Rock. No,
not at all.
Tell us more.
Okay. Well, when I was 18 and graduated from college, I left home. I went to school in upstate New York. It was just kind of one of those experiences that everything aligned. So I have an aunt first I have a cousin who graduated from Vassar.
Okay.
I think 2 years before I got there.
Okay.
And I have an aunt who was living in New York at the time, and I told her I wanted to go to New York for college, and she flew me out for a college visit.
Shout out to Auntie.
And shout out to Hi Auntie. And yeah,
Aunties are important. I'm an auntie.
I'm an aunt to some fur babies right now.
And that's fine. That is completely fine.
So yeah, my aunt flew me out, and Vassar was one of the universities on the list. I saw the campus. It was beautiful. Got the tour and everything. Came back to school, and the representative Vassar actually had a representative come to my high school, Little Rock Central High.
I would shout them out, but I didn't graduate from there. So I'm gonna let her give all the kudos
Little Rock Central.
to Little Rock Central High School, and I put "the" in front of that because I do respect it for what it is, and yes, what it is in our history. But outside of that,
she didn't go there.
Back to you.
So we had a representative come. And it was another black woman. Ooh. It was me, and my high school counselor was a black woman. So we had this whole little interaction in the guidance counselor office. The representative, she actually knew my cousin because she had gone to Vassar, so they graduated in the same year.
Wow.
And so I was able to really get a lot of information from her. Mm-hmm. So all of those things were kind of like...
It's like alignment.
It was alignment. Wow. And they also had need-based financial aid, which I will say for the young people, if you do find a college or university that offers that, highly suggest. So after my mom... After my mom completed FAFSA, mm-hmm. whatever she couldn't cover, they covered.
And it's called what again?
Need-based.
You young people that are in high school that may be listening, or you parents or aunties or uncle, whomever is listening that knows some young people. Somebody that knows somebody that needs this information, because I wasn't in my guidance counselor's office like that. So need-based
financial aid.
Need-based financial aid. It's a thing. Mm-hmm. Tap in.
And I will say, shout out to my high school guidance counselor, because she was very thorough. And we still communicate to this day.
Love it.
We text, we chat, yes.
And I say alignment, especially because, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Vassar is a predominantly white institution.
Yes.
And the representatives that you came in contact with were persons of color.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It was meant to be.
It
was definitely meant to be. So yes, all of that happened on top of me getting, a great financial aid package. Mm-hmm. And my mom said, "Oh, you wanted to go to New York, so here's your opportunity."
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's dope.
And while there, I did my junior year abroad. So we had different programs that you could do, but it was kind of standard for people to either do a domestic exchange or some type of foreign exchange. I decided to do both.
Because why not?
Why not?
You give me the options. Why would I not choose?
Absolutely. And I got my minor in Africana Studies. So I wanted to study the diaspora, right? So I did a semester at Spelman in Atlanta. Awesome. This was 2012. Mm-hmm. And then 2013, I did a semester at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad and Tobago.
If I could stop you there. So there was a program offered at your university. Mm-hmm. Okay, Vassar College had a program. What is this program called?
Well, the one with Spelman was just a domestic exchange program that they had with HBCUs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think they knew.
Basically.
They knew.
Basically, let us have an option for our students of color.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Domestic exchange. Mm-hmm. And then the other opportunity
was, so I went to Trinidad. I actually applied to a program with another university that's in the States, and I went to study in Trinidad with students from that university.
That is so dope. I'm not going to tell y'all what university I went to, but I just really feel like that option was not available. I just feel like, and I missed out, basically.
No, you didn't.
I can always re-enroll.
When I was in school, and I had a really severe case of culture shock, being away from home for the first time. I was 18. I was learning about myself and the world and how to interact with people, and living on the college campus with people that was pretty isolated. And I would call my mom and grandmother crying, I want to come home. No. It was not an option. No, they told me no on multiple occasions. And so this was my compromise. Being able to spend my junior year away was my compromise, was something that kind of gave me, I don't know, it made my experience feel more well-rounded. So after my junior year, I went back to New York and finished off my senior year and graduated. And then I was like, okay, I majored in political science. I was like, what do I want to do next? I've always wanted to go to law school, but I took a year off in between undergrad and law school.
Take a year.
Take a break. Take several.
I mean, whatever you need to do. You don't have to go straight through.
Absolutely not. Reflection is key, right? Reflecting on yourself and your life and what you want for yourself. We feel so pressured to move. Absolutely. Right? But sometimes a part of the movement is reflecting.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was
a gem. Catch that one on your way home. If you didn't catch it just then, let that marinate in your
I caught it after I said it, so I understand.
Quick with it. quick. I love it.
Yeah.
I dig it. So we go to Vassar. We do all the awesome things. Like, we're exposed to the traveling and things like that. You said you went to Spelman first. So that's domestic travel.
Yes.
Was that first introduction to Atlanta?
I had visited prior to, because I have some relatives here, but that was my first time living in Atlanta.
And how long did you do that?
I was here for 6 months.
6 months. So a semester.
I was here for a semester. I came during the summer.
Okay.
And actually left like right after classes ended. I got my life.
Did you?
I was like 20 with a place in Lindbergh, had my own place and everything. I was like in the club.
Of course.
All the time. You know, hanging out with my friends. Yes. Like, you know, we did the most. I had a good time. A very good time. I made the Dean's List. It was one of my best semesters.
There's a thing called duality, guys. And you can do the things, like all of the things, be an exceptional student and live your life.
Still kick
and
it.
live your life.
Good
I love
memories.
it. I love it. I will say, although I did not study abroad, my best year was the year I partied the most. And made the Dean's List.
I think even
crazy.
at Vassar, one of my best semesters was the one where I went hard.
I didn't miss a party this particular year. A party. Dean's List. Just saying.
And look at us now.
What is balance?
Because I still party hard.
We'll tap into that.
I mean, you know.
We'll tap into that another time. Okay, so 6 months in Atlanta.
Yes.
How long were you in Trinidad?
I was in Trinidad for 4 months.
For 4 months. What was that like? Was that your first international experience?
That wasn't my first time traveling internationally, but it was my first time living abroad for that amount of time. And I mean, I loved it. Like Trinidad and Tobago, second home. Like, I'm honorary Trinbagonian.
I have a passport.
Like, if you're from Trinidad and Tobago.
Wait till COVID get his musty behind out of here.
I know. Gotta go to Carnival. Did that.
I'm long overdue for the experience.
Absolutely. Beautiful island. Good food.
Fresh food.
Good fresh food. You know, mango trees behind our dorm. And I actually lived in the dorm. So when I was in Atlanta, I had my own apartment. I was subletting from like a family friend. But in Trinidad, I lived in the dorm, got introduced to like a really different dorm culture, met people from all around the world. A lot of people from other parts of the Caribbean, West Indies also lived there. But they also had other international students as well.
So dope.
And it was just, it felt like a home. Even more so than New York.
Interesting. What made it feel more like home?
I think aside from most of the people looking like me, there was a sense of community that I feel like I got in Little Rock, like got in the South. It was almost like that Southern hospitality, but elsewhere, where people would look after you. If you got sick, people would bring you medicine to your room. If you were hungry, people would feed you. Like, people looked after you.
I may be wrong, but I really feel like that's a cultural thing.
It is.
It's like when you really tap into community, they look out.
Absolutely.
I could know you for 5 minutes or 5 years, but if you look like me, you look like I felt the energy, like I'm gonna look out. I'm gonna look out. So I dig that.
Yeah, I really felt that. And I'm still connected to a lot of people that I met during that experience. And I've been back several times since.
That is dope.
And I never have to worry about a place to stay or like what I'm gonna do or anything. Like, people
because you're basically a resident. Like you said, second home, right?
Honorary.
Are you all getting your life? Because I'm getting mine. Take notes, guys. Because
it's all about building those connections, though.
Yes, and nurturing relationships.
Absolutely.
That's important.
And you can do that wherever you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have all of this fun. We make Dean's List, like domestic travel abroad. We are doing the things, and then we graduate, and then it's like, law school. Bet.
And I studied for the LSAT. I worked, spent time with my family, which is always important, and then decided to go to Philly for law school. So I went to Temple for law school. So I was in Philly for 3 years.
Okay. Time out. I'm sorry to stop you in the middle of your story. This may happen more than once. But how did we decide on Temple?
So my mom actually went to Temple for undergrad.
Full circle moment.
It was a full circle moment.
All right. Tell us about law school. How was that experience and living in Philadelphia?
So I don't know if anyone actually likes law school. I'll say that first. Like the attorneys that I knew before I started law school, I would say, well, how is it? And they said, law school is law school. And that's one of the things that I now understand. I didn't really understand prior to, but now I get it. It teaches you a new way to think and to write and to analyze information. So you have to be open to a very intense kind of learning. But I will say, outside of like the classroom and like the Socratic method or like being called on and like, that type of thing, I feel like I did a lot of fulfilling work while in law school, which is something that I wanted to focus on, like balancing not just my studies, but actually like applying what I was learning in like real life context and being able to help people. So that was my focus. And strangely, I also got really into like mindfulness in the legal profession. So I used to like lead like guided meditations.
Interesting. Never have I ever heard of anyone in law school or a lawyer tell me anything about guided meditation. I feel like they were on opposite ends of the spectrum. One seems very high stress and the other not so much. So, I mean, that's harmony right there, right? So, makes sense.
Yeah, you need some kind of balance. We've been talking about balance and duality throughout this. Philly, I loved Philly. Good food, cool people, good party scene.
Have you guessed it
I'm
yet,
revealing
guys?
so much about myself.
Have you guessed it yet, guys?
So yeah, it served its purpose. And I feel like when it was time for me to go, it was time for me to go.
Understand. In those times of transition, because I mean, we've done some things now. We went from Little Rock to upstate New York, then to Philadelphia, and it looks like we're coming further south now that we're in Atlanta. Or is Atlanta next stop from Philly?
So after Philly, I actually lived in South Jersey for a year. So I did a clerkship in family court in Atlantic City.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. The Lord's work. The Lord's work.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And my judge is an amazing woman. So
that's awesome.
I was very blessed to have that opportunity. And after that, I took a year off. I didn't expect for it to be a year. And I will say, I primarily had to move because I put all of my eggs into one basket. And then...
Okay. Go ahead. I'm thinking. Go ahead.
And then the bottom of the basket
fell out.
So I had to go back home.
But was it worth it?
I feel like I learned a lot. The basket was a relationship. So I knew this prior to like have your own shit. And make sure you're managing your own affairs. But at the time, I had planned to move in with someone until I found like a next job or next chapter, and we broke up. So I didn't have anything else planned. And I will say, had that experience not happened, I wouldn't have moved home. And I moved home in September of 2019. And then we know March of 2020, everything shut down.
Absolutely.
So I actually felt blessed to be able to like be with my family during a time where we were going through a global emergency.
Absolutely.
And still are, but I'm a lot closer now. So yeah, I spent exactly a year at home.
Wow.
I moved in 2019, September of 2019, and my lease started in Atlanta in September of 2020.
Wow. It seems like your year-long respites it's like a thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
It really works in your favor.
Thankfully, I feel like we're so pressured to keep going and keep going, and we're not really encouraged to like get rest or clarity or anything like that. And I'm not really one who functions well when I can't sit and think and reflect on, you know, what I want to do and, you know, what kind of changes I want to see in my life and what I want for my future. Some people can do that amidst chaos, but I'm not one of those people.
Understood. And it's important to know yourself, to know what works for you, right?
Exactly. And I've been blessed to be able to take breaks and not be penalized for it.
Amen.
So if I can do it,
you possibly can too.
You possibly can too. You don't have to exhaust yourself.
You possibly can too. Now, I'm not sure if you want to speak on this and let me know. One of the reasons that I'm doing this particular series, it's for Black women. I'm interviewing specifically Black women, and the age range is like 28 through 78. And I did that because we often think that like our stories are so unique and like you're on this journey by yourself or you're experiencing this new thing. And as we know, for lack of better words, the Bible says that nothing new is done under the sun, right? So to draw on the interconnections that we have generationally, right? So to get those stories of relocation, like for instance, you talked about what brought you home was a relationship ending, but you learned a lesson in that. What was the lesson learned?
Well, for one, the lesson was the importance, like I said, of having my own shit.
Amen.
Always make sure you have your own place to stay, your own way to sustain yourself. That's just kind of like essential, at least for me. And so I thought that was something that I knew. But now I realize, until you get to a certain stage with someone, until you really feel comfortable, that wasn't something that I should have been investing that much into, because I knew that the foundation wasn't as solid as it should have been.
Understood.
To put that kind of faith into something, right?
Absolutely.
I was living on a prayer.
Listen, and I asked that question because as we, go deeper into the generations, we have like women that have relocated because of relationships.
Right, absolutely.
Because they got married. Because we're not that too far removed from history where, we didn't have certain rights or certain privileges to make our own money and navigate as independent as we can now. So sometimes it was not even like our choice, right, to do a thing. So I think I appreciate you sharing that part of the journey, and knowing that, ladies, you're not the only one.
No,
it happens, you know, and it doesn't have to be the end all be all, So
life goes on,
does,
for sure.
And
then I went home and I felt so replenished. By the people in my family, they were like, "Oh, girl, come on,
miss one, next 15." One coming. A prophet wasn't said. So,
Gucci Mane.
Yeah, absolutely, Sir Gucci Mane,
Radrick Davis.
So, yes, I appreciate you sharing that part of the story. So we get home, and exactly a year later, we're in Atlanta. How did we decide on Atlanta being the next destination?
Okay, good question. Well, when I was leaving the East Coast, I was actually looking for positions in DC because, I was a part of that grind culture, like that East Coast grind culture. Like, you know, if I have this experience doing X, Y, and Z, like it makes sense to go to DC where they're like making policy and I can practice and do policy work, et cetera, et cetera. Then I came home and I said, I can't be that far away from my family. Like you know, seeing how much they leaned on me, and going back home 10 years later and seeing how much everyone has aged, and not just seeing it for, you know, a month or two when I come home for a break, but like living with it made me realize that I needed to be able to hop in my car and get home in less than a day. It's just that it's like a feeling where I just have to be close. So I looked for positions in Atlanta, because I knew that I enjoyed Atlanta, even though it was 8 years prior. And I have a lot of friends from home, you know, a lot of people from Little Rock are in Atlanta. I have a lot of family here, on both sides of my family, my mom and dad's sides. And it just seemed like a good compromise, I guess, like a good place to, you know, focus on my career and still have some professional and personal growth, and yeah, just kind of enjoy this space. I plan on being here for a while.
Oh, we're making Atlanta our home.
I think so. Okay. I think so. I just renewed my lease, so at least another year.
Absolutely, we got at least one more year. So.
Absolutely, because like I said, I get home more frequently now. You know, traveling is a lot more convenient. Absolutely. My mom likes Atlanta, so she likes to come and spend time with me, and I'm happy that I can create that space for her. And I'm building connections with my relatives who live here, who we may not have grown up in the same city or state. So I'm able to build those connections. Like, it just feels, I'm able to cultivate relationships that are very important to me while still maintain the ones at home that are as essential and important as well.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Government contractor. What does that mean? Because it sounds very, you know, Secret Service, FBI.
Does it?
People still think I'm an agent.
I mean, I could see that.
I will not confirm nor deny.
I could totally see that. I think your viewers could too. If they know you, absolutely.
Well.
Okay. So yeah, I work for a company, and the government essentially pays them for labor. So I'm currently doing HIPAA investigations.
Interesting.
Yeah, so health information privacy.
Now, did you need the credentials that you have as far as you being a licensed attorney to do this particular work?
So you don't have to be licensed, but you do need to have a law degree.
You need? I don't have a law degree, so therefore I should not apply.
I don't know. I feel like you could finesse something. Well, I know you.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll omit this out of the recording. Anyway, so is that something that you see yourself doing for an extended period of time, or what do you see for yourself?
So I see myself having like a professional career. I see myself having like a professional career, like a 9 to 5 or whatever. But I also feel like I've been exploring a lot of new things. So I don't want a job that, and I'm blessed to have that now. I don't want to have a job that requires a lot. I don't want anything beyond like the standard 40-hour week, because I'm exploring new things. And so I don't know what that will look like. I've realized that, you know, you can have a blueprint, but kind of like trying new things and exploring new things, they kind of take a life of their own. So
what are some of these new things you're exploring, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. So I am working on paintings. I know you see like random paintings in my apartment.
She's always been an artist, guys.
I like to paint, and I'm actually in an art curation program, and we will be having a pop-up in Miami for Art Basel in December. So extremely excited about that.
An artist. A creative, if you will.
It's always been so satisfying. Like, art is really like one of those things that's very therapeutic for me. I'm starting voiceover lessons soon.
Can you guys tell, like, voiceover, listening to her voice, if not by now, have you been entranced? Like, I can definitely see the voiceover work like taking over. And I mean, I see the art also. We crossed paths years ago, and we were working for a government entity. And even in our staff meetings, guess what Imani would be doing?
Oh, I forgot about that. I was doodling.
She would be doodling. But at the end of the meeting, you have a work of art, a masterpiece.
I still knew what was going on, I will say.
And she had no choice but to know what was going on, because our director didn't play those kind of games.
No.
She would literally call you
Follow
out
up
in the middle of the meeting and ask you what she just said. So
absolutely.
Multitasker.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things. Like, if I'm receiving information, I also have to like do something with my hands or something. Like, I don't know. I did it throughout law school too. Like, my notes are full of doodles,
and that's fine.
So yeah, art, voiceover work. I do a weekly like motivation type, like mindfulness thing on Instagram, where I just talk about the things that come to mind.
And if you all are interested, and I'm sure you are because you're listening, what is that handle on Instagram?
Yes, at miss.imanihh, and Miss is ms.imani, IMANIHH.
And we'll, be sure to put that in the notes so that you all can follow Imani, because she gave you the handle. Had she not, I would not have shared that with you. But she just spoke about her weekly inspirational messages, would you call, or motivational?
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't really come up with the...
It's inspirational for me. And I guess inspirational and motivational can somewhat be synonymous. A little bit give and take. And what days is that?
Wednesdays, because it's the middle of the week. We're trying to truck through.
Get you over there.
Exactly.
I will say she has read me for filth many a Wednesday. Do you hear me? I'm
really speaking to myself. Just sharing what I need to be paying attention to.
And me. And I say
that people.
That baby said, are you carrying too much stuff? And I said, get in my business. Get in my business. Put it down. Put it down.
Yeah, we don't do baggage.
I appreciate the messages, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So keep up the phenomenal work.
Thank you.
Is there anything that I have not asked you about this journey that you would like to share with the people?
Let's see. We've also done some solo international travel in between all of that. You want me to go more into that?
Passport book is full. Do you hear me? Not new to this, but true to this. So what are some other places, before you even get into that makes me think about something. What can you recount your first time traveling domestically?
No.
What's the earliest?
I was a baby
the
first time I traveled domestically. I was like several months. My mom told me the story.
Interesting.
Where were you? Philly, actually. I know.
You don't say.
It's a long story. I don't know if we want to.
It's okay. We can do that off camera. So the first time was Philly that you were told. What about that you can recount?
I think it was probably like a Cali Vegas type trip when I was about 4 or 5.
Well traveled, you guys. East, west, north, south.
I need to get back to the West Coast.
Covering the things. Where have you been? Tap in. Tap in, get in the car, catch a flight.
Absolutely.
Do what you need. Get on the bus.
There's a whole world out there.
Do what you need to do. So, Cali, what did you all do on the West Coast, if you remember?
I know we visited some relatives, and I remember going to one of my mom still talks about this, and I remember it because I guess I was like stuck, like shook. But we went to one of the hotels, and they had a fountain, and then like the people, or like the statues in the fountain, like started moving. I had to go. 4 or 5 year old Imani was like, "Mama, let's go."
That is too much. You take me way too fast. Like, what is going on? Okay.
That was the memory.
And then first international travel that you can recount.
First international travel. So when I was in elementary school, our choir went to London, Paris, and Versailles to sing.
You mean to tell me was elementary in Little Rock also?
It was, yeah.
And
I went to Rockefeller. Shout out to Rockefeller. I was there forever. I was there from 2 until 11.
I also did not attend Rockefeller.
You know about it though.
But what's crazy is I went to school a block over.
You were at Booker?
I was at the Booker Arts Magnet that did not take their choir to London. Wow.
Yeah.
As Elsa said.
We were like, good. We were singing Motown hits. So they're like still in the brain, like etched forever.
And you're in elementary, and your mom was like, "Of course, go ahead."
You know she wasn't going with. She wouldn't let me go without her. My mom
Black
and grandmother went because my grandmother had to watch her baby. My mom, like it was everybody was. Yes, on top of fundraising, my grandma sold fish plates to raise money. Like we did it. Yes,
the whole family went because
they had to watch their babies. Literally.
That is hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, so elementary, and then next one was
I think the next was probably Guatemala, and that was my senior year of high school.
What? I mean,
Central. I don't know. It was with our Spanish class, and that trip it was all right. It was a good trip. It was a very good trip, but at the time, me and the teacher didn't see eye to eye, and that was like my first time like asserting my adulthood.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I stood up.
Also into parents, aunties, uncles, family members, cousins, all the above. Get the young people in the schools that are doing the things. Clearly mine wasn't. So just saying.
OMG.
Just saying. It matters. It matters. What would you say was your first international trip as an adult?
So I think my first international trip was I guess aside from going to Trinidad, my solo trip, I took it during law school, like one of my spring breaks. I went to Costa Rica. And how I came about that trip was very random. I Googled places where Black people feel safe. This was like 2016. And I came across an article in Essence that was written by this woman, and she said that her family was from Costa Rica, but she was living in Brooklyn, and she visited Costa Rica, and she said, you know what, I'm packing the whole family up.
Well,
and they moved, and they never looked back.
Moved. I thought you were about to say
no,
they visited.
They did not visit. They're there to this day, and she actually went to Vassar, so I reached out to her. There's a lot of alignment. There's a lot of alignment there. And so she kind of talked to me about how, you can live and sustain yourself abroad. And she also had like a consultancy business. So I paid her for her time. Like, you're giving me advice on how to like travel to this island. And if I want to move there, also move. So that was great. So yeah, I reached out to her. She gave me kind of like a week-long like itinerary. So I decided to go to Costa Rica, and yeah, took a solo trip, had a great time.
So you searched places that Black people feel safe.
Yes, I did.
How safe do you feel doing solo travel, or is that a search you do prior to any of your?
So yeah, I definitely want to look up where I'm going. I like planning trips. That's one thing about me. I like planning itineraries, not just like international trips, but I like, if someone tells me they're going to come visit me in Atlanta for a weekend, I can have you booked and busy because I enjoy looking up new things to do, looking up restaurants, looking up reviews, looking up Instagram pictures. Like, it's very thorough. It's very satisfying. So that's what I do when I go somewhere new. I want to see, who's gone, what were their experiences like, see if I can talk to people if possible, reach out to my friends, see if they've ever been there, see if they have any itineraries or something like that. So, yeah, that's...
What about in regards to safety? Do you, as a woman and then a Black woman on top of that, have you ever feared for your safety while traveling?
Thankfully, no.
Okay.
Thankfully, I have not. When I went to Costa Rica, and that's another story. We can discuss that off camera as well. But I have been so blessed. I've been so blessed. People just kind of seem to take me under. Like, people really want to help me and look after me. So when in Costa Rica, I wound up like communing with the family of the people who owned the home. The circumstances were kind of sad, but instead of like kicking me out of the home when something tragic happens with their family, they allowed me to stay and celebrate with them, and made sure that I got to my flight. Like, really just kept me fed. Like, community. Literally community. And the same, so I took a solo trip to Bali after I took the bar exam because I needed a little
release.
I needed a little release. And though I feel like 2 weeks is a little bit long to spend solo in Bali, I wouldn't recommend. I mean, I would suggest having someone there with you. But you want to do, a week or longer because you have to adjust to the time difference. You have to take 24 hours to get there. Like, you want to be able to actually enjoy yourself. But I was once again very blessed to meet people who wanted to look after me, and I'm still connected with the people that I met over there. And I have my Bali mama. We're still Facebook friends. Like, we still communicate with each other. So thankfully, I haven't been in a space where I feared for my safety, because I've been blessed and protected.
I love it. I will say, whether you're abroad or you're at home, you have to have a sense of awareness of your surroundings. You have to watch the people. You have to listen to your intuition. Now, that's the key. If you're in a circumstance and something is like nagging you and you feel like someone may be watching you, or listen to that gut feeling, because it's there for a reason. Absolutely. What would you say inspired you to leave Little Rock?
So, when I was 9 or 10, once again, my aunt flew me to New York. She had just had a baby, and I was there to meet my little cousin. And I think she had her apartment in Brooklyn at the time. And I went to New York and I saw all these different places to eat and shop and go. And I went back to Little Rock and I said, I'm leaving here when I can. Like, I'm going to New York. And my mom and grandma were like, okay,
Oh, sure. All right.
Right. Exactly. And so it was literally something that was stuck in my mind. Yeah.
Awesome. So what would you say, or what would you say, or how would you encourage the person that may be 29 Never left home. Would like to leave home. Not sure what to do. Maybe, safety may be a thing for them. What would you say to them?
Okay. I would say first look at your network. Do you know anyone who has left home? Do you know someone who knows someone who left home? Can you reach out to some of your relatives or something like that, just so you can get the scoop about where you intend to go? Next, I feel like wherever you go, as long as you have a place to, or somehow, some way to pay your bills and a place to sleep, you can make it happen.
You can figure it out.
Like, those are the basics. Absolutely. And it gives you so much peace of mind to know that, whatever is happening around me, if I'm not satisfied with where I am, I can still come to a place and collect my thoughts and get myself together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Would you ever return to Little Rock?
I think I would consider it maybe, after I've had my kids, or maybe once I have kids or something. Like, it's a good place to do that, like, family rearing and whatnot. But I'm moving. I'm constantly on the go. And I like variety. And I sometimes don't feel like I can get that variety at home. I like a variety of places to eat. I have dietary restrictions. I'm a pescatarian now, and prior to last January, I was a strict vegetarian, and it's not as easy to find those options. I like exploring and like finding new things. And granted, there are, like, Little Rock is up and coming, and you can always explore and find little gems and whatnot. But I feel like I've just grown so accustomed to like a larger city and kind of like the pace and the options that larger cities present, that I'm not sure. If I lived there and I traveled often, I could do it.
But the way flights are set up at a Little Rock,
they're so expensive. They're so expensive.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me today. Yeah. My final question for you would be, what impact has traveling, whether it be domestic or abroad, had on your development as a woman or into adulthood?
I feel like I had to learn independence, because I didn't have another option. I am my mom's only child, and if it were up to her, she would do everything. She still will try to make my doctor's appointments for me. Bless her. But I think having a system when you are navigating new places is something that I learned while being away from home. And when I say a system, I mean a way to like organize myself, a way to organize my thoughts, a way to have a sense of awareness. Is something that I didn't have prior to leaving home. And it may be something that I just gained in adulthood. I've been blessed to meet a lot of people from a lot of different places and kind of make that human connection with them. I think prior to leaving home, I felt like my situation was so unique. And then I was able to connect with people who never even knew where Little Rock was. And we were able to make connections and find commonalities. So I think it makes you more empathetic and compassionate and understanding. And it has inspired me to feel like my life is limitless and infinite, and I'm not confined by, any type of geographical setting. Like, I'm a global citizen.
And that's on period, guys. Thank you so much, Imani.
Oh,
I
you,
have
Melissa.
thoroughly enjoyed
You
this
know I love you, girl. Melissa
Thoroughly.
has always been just amazing. I'm just honored that you thought of me and asked me.
Of course. When I thought about just this concept, I'm like, I know a couple of people. And to get their stories just on record, because I mean, we talk about our experiences,
Right.
but people are really asking those questions. Like, they want to leave. They feel like, they're at a certain point in their life where, of course, nothing is necessarily easy, but they feel like it's too late.
Never too late.
And it's never too late. And I wanted to provide not necessarily a platform, but a space, or create a space where you could hear of stories and find the commonalities that you talked about, to know that you're not alone in this. There's community in this. You're able to find community if you find the courage to leave. I was actually listening to a book en route here that talks about living a creative life, and it talked about fear, and fear will have a grip on you, and cause you not to make that move. And it was saying that, well, in order to make that move, you need the courage to do the thing, right? And it's not that you want fear not to necessarily exist. It's going to exist, and you need to figure out how to have courage and fear like cohabitate. Acknowledge that it's there, but still be willing to take that step. So
I like that. And I feel like we have like this image or this path in our minds, and sometimes we feel like if the path doesn't go as imagined, that it's failure, right? That's a lesson and a blessing.
Hello.
So
Hello.
You win either way.
We're figuring it out. Our lives are literally masterpieces that are unfolding day to day, minute by minute.
Give it.
It's your story. It's unique to you, but it's in your story lends to a greater masterpiece also. So walk in that artistry. Take that chance. Be emboldened with that courage. I want to say fuck fear, and I hesitated on that, but fuck fear.
Absolutely.
Like, it's gonna be there. Talk to it. Fear, I know you're here. I know you're present, and I know you came to do what you're supposed to do. But this is what I'm gonna do. Like, speak to that thing, right?
I like that.
Speak to that thing.
I like that.
Like I said, just learned that en route here. So once again, thank you. That'll be all. If you want to catch up to what Imani is doing, she has many a project in the works, as you've heard here, which is so awesome. She's been such a joy and a pleasure to have on this platform. I'm definitely grateful for your yes. If you want to hear more, you know where to follow her. I'll make sure I put that information in the notes. Thank you guys for listening. We're out.